You all know me as a pole dancer, but before that, I dabbled in as many circus skills as I could get my hands on, like hula hoop, aerial silks, juggling, balloon art, and more. I thought it would be fun to take a look at the circus skills I've been neglecting to see how much I remember. I don't have access to aerial silks and I threw my balloons away long ago, but I have a hula hoop, juggling stuff, stilts, and a dream, so I headed out to the backyard to get started on a blustery afternoon. Hula hooping was a thing I did immediately before I got my pole. I really thought I was going to make it my thing. This was just a cheap hoop from the kids section at Target, and I was convinced that I could get along with that instead of a $300 permanent installation in my home. I watched all of the My Hooping Journey videos, and I practiced working my hips. And, as you can see, I'm no good at it. Let's take a break from watching me fail at the same thing over and over and look at another trick I had taught myself. Ooh, ah. Oh, this again. Okay, here we go. I'm keeping it up. I'm sure you can tell that I'm not gracefully gyrating my hips, but instead doing a very stiff pelvic thrust with my arms up like a broken cactus, because despite my proclivity for twerking, I find this motion very foreign. And here's me pretending like I know how to start a behind-the-back trick. Wow, look at this! The thing we all did on the playground when we were 8 years old! Trying to do isolation moves first really shows you how cheap this hoop is, and second, really shows you that I never got anywhere near the subtleties of hula hooping. Any specific movements like this were distant dreams even when I was practicing most days. Let's look at some of the other things I tried to learn. I will leave you with this thing that I can only do because of my weird hyperflexible elbows. It's not like a trick, just a thing that I can move the hoop like this without bending my arms at all. Anyway, let's move on. The next afternoon, which was somehow an even more blustery day, I gathered my juggling supplies and braved the wind. I started juggling in early 2019, and though I've been inconsistent the past 2 years, I used to juggle quite frequently with a group, so there are a few things here, like this basic 3-ball pattern that are like riding a bike. They're like riding a bike, you just don't forget it. Here's me trying a different angle, but my big head is in the way of the action. This is a cascade to a reverse cascade, I think. Pretty cool, pretty basic. I can tell that my hands are moving around a lot more than they should, and they should really be more controlled, but whatever. And then here's a couple of single-hand things. You need to be good at single-hand tosses on both sides in order to start doing 4 objects. I never got that good. Time to bust out the clubs, and here's where the wind really started messing with me. Clubs are, to me, the most fun thing to juggle because they feel really satisfying and are the easiest and most common thing to juggle with others. I feel like the common theme with my juggling stuff is like, wow, it's cool I can do the basic 3-object patterns because that right there is objective proof that yes, I can juggle. However, it's not like thrilling to watch. Sort of a mild, neat. I stopped practicing consistently, which means that I've been stuck at the very basics for years now. Like, for example, tricks like this. I work on them whenever I bust out my clubs, and they just totally never... Well, okay. Just like with pole, just because you can do something on one side in no way guarantees you can do it on the other. My left hand is significantly worse at launching the clubs. Here I am trying to spice up the basic pattern. Are you not entertained? As the wind picked up, I picked up my rings, which was stupid because these little bitches are hard to catch on a good day, but the slightest breeze sends them flying around like a beach ball at a Nickelback concert. Again, I should be keeping my hands in one spot and allowing the rings to fall into them, relying on the consistency of my throws, but the wind had other ideas. I found that juggling 4 rings was easier than juggling 4 balls, and I actually managed to do it a couple times back in the day, so here's me reminding myself how to juggle 2 rings in one hand, which is the fundamental move you need to do 4, but the wind is a cruel mistress. Rings are fun because you can utilize their unique shape to treat them like mini hula hoops, if you're any good. Ah, an elegant ring trick. Ah, such an elegant ring trick. Okay. For the grand finale of juggling, here's me juggling 1 of each object. This is tricky because, I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but the wind, and also because each object has a different weight and trajectory and something physics. But don't get it twisted. For every pretty okay juggling pattern I showed here, there are so many shots of me dropping everything. 99% of juggling is dropping things and picking them back up. I do wish I'd kept up this skill because it could be pretty damn good by now if I hadn't let it slide, but it's a fun thing to bust out every once in a while as a party trick. My final neglected circus skill is stilting. These stilts given to me by a friend are makeshift, size 7.5 shoes screwed into a wood platform on top of 2 feet of wood that I painted black. I strapped them to me with some Velcro that I cut into strips. You may also notice I've got knee pads on in case I take a fall, and you may also notice that I'm sitting awkwardly on a ladder because putting stilts on is incredibly cumbersome. After taking a cursed video, it's time for the moment of truth. Standing up.
Oh my god. Careful. The ground is soft.
Ah, okay. Once you're up, stilts are pretty manageable, but boy oh boy, those first 10 seconds are pure terror. In these, I am 7 feet 4.5 inches tall, and even though that's only 2 additional feet, I really felt like I was as tall as the house, like I was up as high as the roof. That's why for the first while, I'm sticking my arms out like a tightrope walker while I get my stilt legs. Here's a closer view at the bottom of the stilts. I'm not good enough that I can stand stock still and balance my weight, so it's all about taking little steps constantly. I'll admit that without a costume, stilting is kind of boring to look at. Once the initial ooh wears off, it's like, yeah, there's a lady who's slightly taller than she was before, with goofy tennis shoes and Velcro strapped to her legs. So I had my dad retrieve my Isis wings for me to up the excitement. It was so annoying attempting to put these on while the wind blew everywhere and the material got stuck in the Velcro. The wings are also broken. They're supposed to be metal rods that allow me to extend them, so altogether kind of dopey. But gosh darn it if I didn't occasionally feel majestic. Now, time for the second worst part of stilting, taking them off. Lowering yourself down is almost as scary as getting up, because you sort of lose all sense as to how close you are to things. Elegant. Graceful. Graceful, elegant. Oh, yeah. Wow. Graceful. Elegant. In summation, you get good at the things you devote time to. I decided to ignore these things in favor of pole, but busting them out again has me inspired to try to add them back into my— Huh? What's that? A new pole trick? I'll be right there!